the guy's only a second behind, he'll pass you.
His tyres all in good state, very good tyres. We can push all the way deep.
We know Jenson Button's tyres are in good shape, there's no doubt about that. But what about Lewis Hamilton's tyres? They're very different strategies here.
Yeah, are indeed. And although Lewis has got the pace in that first sector, that very complex technical part of the racetrack, he's currently losing about 0.3 of a second in the middle sector, and we know that Vettel has been pretty impressive in this last sector through 19 and down in. We were on board with him, and look how he's closed that gap up. And see what the gap is this time as we go across the line.
Oh, it's 1 second. 1 second, which allows the DRS to come into operation, but he has to be within 1 second at the end of the S's, and that's perhaps a little bit more difficult.
Well, typically, yeah, sorry, Ben. I was going to say, typically in this sector, he's been a couple of tenths slower than Lewis Hamilton. So it'll all come down to how he can carry the brakes into that braking zone. You see him fighting the wheel as he finds their way through this very complex section of corners, and it looks to me that Hamilton's just opening out the gap slightly. Now, as they pop out over the top of 8, 9, down through the kink of 10, this is where we come to the DRS activation zone. There's the white line. That to me looks slightly more than a second, but let's see as they exit turn 11.
And interestingly, of course, Red Bull tend to run higher downforce. Gary, they don't tend to have as much straight line speed normally as McLaren, and certainly that was the case in qualifying yesterday, wasn't it?
It was really, the Red Bull, it seems to set up as Sebastian Vettel's car back in Abu Dhabi. It's had a really good race car with quite good speed, but really didn't seem to do anything for that because they thought they'd be on pole position and win the race from there, which nearly happened. But right now, in DRS form, they're about 6 kilometres slower than what the McLaren is in DRS form. So I think Sebastian will find it very difficult to get Lewis into DRS because he's going to have to do it somewhere else.
Well, we're on lap 49 out of 56. No sign of anybody else having to dive into the pits yet for a second pit stop. We saw Di Resta make a second stop with Michael Schumacher, but everyone else still running. There is Alonso in that lonely just coming up to lap one of the HRTs. Both De La Rosa and Carter KM still running in this race, but Ferrari once again for Alonso to keep this championship battle alive. He gets past there neatly at turn 16, no problems at all for him. And Massa dropped away a little bit actually on that last lap, and the gap between Massa and Button has come down to 5.5 seconds. On board with Senna here as he goes past Hulkenberg. This is for position, and Bruno Senna, no, he hasn't quite got past Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg holds on to 8.
Well, it looked like he'd made it 6, but Hulkenberg came back, and then he has to correct as they run through 13. Lost a little bit of time here. And meanwhile, up front, Hamilton's just gone fastest of all in that first sector. Again, 2 tenths quicker than Vettel. And it looks like, Hamilton wasn't really able to do anything until he got the traffic from Carthagena. Just looking up ahead to try and see if there's any traffic that can come into play against Hamilton. He's got Kobayashi just ahead of him. And then Ricciardo and Perez and Rosberg a few corners ahead of them. So traffic still can play a part this afternoon, as Hulkenberg looks like he's got Senna covered, being chased by his teammate Maldonado. Well, it's a strong race showing here from Bruno Senna. I suspect Maldonado will be on the radio to the team to say, okay, look, he's had a go, he didn't make it work. Politely ask him to make way, and I'll see if I can pull out a banzai move.
Well, I wonder if that would happen. Senna's driving for his chances in Formula 1 next year, of course, desperate to deliver a good performance. And interestingly, Williams behind Force India in the Constructors' points by 20 points. They would dearly love to outscore Force India and really want to be further up the top 10, of course. They're not scoring many points down at the lower end of the top 10 here. But Hulkenberg doing his bit for Force India. He was presented with a cuckoo clock by his Force India team the other day in celebration of the flood. I think that they're very sad, in fact, that he's going to Sauber, but that's what they gave Nico. They reckon that he'd be able to time his laps on it, I think. But actually, the Sauber's been looking very strong this year, and he's still holding off in that Force India against the 2 Williams of Senna and Maldonado.
Well, they might have given him a book of patience as well as a cuckoo clock.